Previously on True Blue's YouTube channel.
I was looking for some other way to not have a real job. Voice. For Kenny, the biggest inspiration that I'd had is a few years prior with Walking Dead. You know, by the time we got to like episode 4 and episode 5, it was just like the line counts were just getting crazy. I've played The Wolf Among Us, and I enjoyed that quite a bit, aside from my parts. But I generally spend belief in order to just, you know, kind of enjoy the game. And I think so much of gaming is that suspension of belief.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Walking Dead Interviews episode 2, and today I have a very, very special guest with me today, and he is the one, the only, Dave Fennoy.
Hello Callum, how are you? And thanks for inviting me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here today. Now, I know we're running low on time, so we're going to breeze through as many questions as we possibly can, and to start things off, tell us a story about yourself and tell us how you became to doing what you are today.
Well, I started as a child. I was a child actor in Cleveland, Ohio, and loved it. And but I also played music. And when I went off to college as a theater major, I kind of switched into music and went on the road, humming and strumming, as I call it. Then realized I wasn't going to grow up to be a rock and roll star, and went into radio and was a how do you call it that in England? A presenter. For a while. I was a morning personality, did the morning show on a couple of radio stations, and discovered voiceover, started knocking on those doors. They opened a crack for me, and I forced myself in.
So radio work was basically your first gig in the industry?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So our next question is, do you have any form of inspiration? If so, where from?
Well, you know, I had heroes. Percy Rodriguez, who was a black actor and a voice actor here. Adolph Caesar, New York stage actor in some movies and did a lot of voice acting. Don LaFontaine, who I had the good fortune of knowing and having a friendship with. Those are some of my heroes. And then, of course, watching cartoons as a kid. You know, used to do those voices and love Deputy Dog and Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and whatnot, and those were kind of my inspirations.
That's kind of convenient, because the next question is, did you watch any cartoons when you were little? So Looney Tunes, Rock and Bullwinkle, Captain Caveman. What would childhood be without cartoons? The next part of the question is, did you actually impersonate any of those voices?
I used to. When I was a kid, I used to do, you know, all the cartoons, and I really don't do those voices anymore. I think because my voice changed, but I used to for sure.
Yeah, I used to do a good old Donald Duck and stuff like that. Not the easiest voice to do.
Oh no.
Yeah. So the next question is, what made you want to become a voice actor?
You know, that's a good question. I had went into voice acting directly out of being a radio personality. I just liked it. I liked the idea. It blended the things that I do. There's a certain musicality to it. I had been a musician. There's performance. There's acting. I had been an actor, and it's just performing, being on stage, and you might not hear the people clapping for you, but people like the work you do and respond to it. So I think that's what I like.
Fan feedback and appreciation.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I had no fan feedback until a couple of years ago. I was a working voice actor. I was on a lot of games, a number of cartoons. I think some people in the business knew who I was, but I didn't have fans really until the Walking Dead game. And that, you know, sometimes if you are in a star vehicle, like the Walking Dead game, which won about 100 Game of the Year awards. I was nominated as Best Voice 5 times, even a BAFTA. I was there in jolly old England, in London, for the BAFTAs. That kind of thing gives you a different kind of notoriety. Now it's not just the people who do the hiring that go, yeah, let's get Fennoy in on this. You know, he can do the part. Now you've got fans whose lives you touched with your performance as Lee Everett. And it's kind of kicked me up into a different category and given me notoriety that I didn't have before.
Awesome. So, like I said, I, for one, was emotionally connected to Lee, like, spoiler alert, right at the very end, where they're saying goodbye to Clementine. Me, personally, I was very connected to Kenny. He was my favourite character. The emotional connection between those two characters are very in between, and it's what.
Well, you ever have a best friend that was also your worst enemy?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the connection was. These were two people who, if life had just gone as it was, they never would have connected. They never would have met, or if they had, they wouldn't have liked each other and gone their separate ways. But it turned out they were in a situation where they had to depend on each other for survival. And even though there was some definite conflict between them and their backgrounds, they had to learn to care about each other and take care of each other.
Because if you didn't agree with Kenny, then God, Jesus, he'll have a go at you for it. Saying, "Oh, you hate me, Lee, and you don't care about my boy." Alright, so our next batch of questions are actually from the fans of, I guess, me and you, so I apologise in advance if I pronounce any of these names wrong. So the first question is from PC Mr. Race. Okay. What kind of characters do you prefer to play, good guys or bad guys?
I actually like both, but I think playing the bad guys is more fun. You get, I don't know why, I just have more fun playing the bad guys.
I guess it's more like, why do we play video games? Obviously, 'cause we can't do it in real life, so...
Hopefully. But of course...
Hopefully.
But of course, here in the States, every time some idiot with a gun shoots up a bunch of people, it's always the video game's fault.
Yeah, I know, it's always the video game's fault, but we don't have that in dear old England. I don't know.
Well, you guys just don't have the love of guns like we do.
Nah, we don't enforce it that much.
Thank goodness. God bless.
Alright, our next question is from Magical Moman. And he asks, do you play the games that you voice, for example, The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us?
I actually don't play any games. I am not a gamer. I am so not a gamer. And I'm awful at it, and I sometimes feel a little guilty that I don't play. I'm a voice actor, and I love acting on games, and I'm very proud that I started acting on games back in the mid-'90s when voice acting for games was just getting started. And that's what I like to do, is provide the character for this particular wonderful form of entertainment, which, by the way, brings in more money than movies and music combined.
That's alright then, because I know that some don't even like playing games they voice, so it's like, to hell with video games altogether.
Well, I don't play games altogether, and it's not that I have disrespect for the games. I just I think chronologically, age-wise, I came along after the age of kids when I was a kid playing video games. So it just wasn't a part of my youth or young adulthood, and I stepped into being a voice for games as an adult.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because, as I said, if it's not part of your youth, then, yeah, that's understandable. Alright, so for our next question is from the Great Duchess of Carly. Do you have any relation with the characters that you voice? For example, are you in a love-hate relationship with Gavin Hammond, a.k.a. Kenny from The Walking Dead?
I love Gavin. Gavin's a good buddy of mine, and a great voice actor, and so there's the love part is there, the hate part is not. Wow, interesting question. Sometimes I relate to characters. The character of Lee Everett was very much like me. We all have regrets in life, something that we, even if it's as simple as, breaking up with some girl who's, you broke some girl's heart sometime or something like that. I'm a father, so I could relate to the relationship with Clementine. If I weren't doing what I'm doing now, I'd probably be a history professor someplace. And that was the backstory on Lee Everett. He had been a college professor who killed his wife and her lover and was going off to jail thinking his life was over. And then a good thing happened called a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, we're all waiting for that.
And it freed him. And of
what
course,
a coincidence!
What a coincidence! And of course, taking care of Clementine allows him to redeem himself. It gives him a chance to be a good man again.
Well, it's like, I'm sure that most people can relate to these characters in some way or another. It's like, it's not so much like what you did, but it's like we do something, we regret it, we want to make up for it. I'm sure we've all had those moments, but that's why I personally connect to this game. Well, one of the reasons. And I said there may not be exact aspects, but they're like our own interpretations, which is good, because it's about having that emotional connection, and it's a nice little bonus.
There you go.
So our next question is from Scott Pillar in 1990. Do you only do voices for games, or can we see you in TV and film?
I've been in a few TV shows and a few really bad movies. And I do commercials. I do narrations for like Science Channel and National Geographic from time to time. So I'm a voice actor. I do a lot of different things: TV promos, movie trailers, all of that. Cartoons.
Well, what actually makes this really beneficial for me is the fact that because my channel is mostly Sonic the Hedgehog related, you did actually play a voice in the Sonic the Hedgehog TV show back in 1994, which I believe is the Sat AM show, which most Sonic fans will know.
Oh,
but yeah.
And I don't even remember that. It's very funny. As a voice actor, it's from job to job to job to job to job, and a lot of times you just don't remember, especially something that far back, if you didn't have like a major role or recurring role in something. So I don't even remember doing that job.
Well, according to this, you played additional voices, so... And one of the episodes is called Cry of the Wolf, which is future reference to The Wolf Among Us. But yeah, there is that. So the next question is from Anime Player. What upcoming conventions can we see you at? Comic-Con.
Actually, I'm not going down to Comic-Con this year, but I will be going up to Sacra Anime in Sacramento, California, at the end of September. It's end of August.
Can we expect to see you at any, English conventions, maybe?
You know what? I haven't been invited. I would love to go. I would be there in a New York minute. But, I haven't been invited. Maybe get the word out. Hey, Dave Fennoy would love to come to England. I would love to do more conventions. It's funny. I don't know if you know who Greg Miller is up at noon.
Oh, yeah, Greg Miller.
The first time I interviewed with him, and by the way, he's become a very good friend, and I have just oodles of respect for his talent. He's a funny guy, smart guy. But anyway, we ended the interview, and he says, well, you can retire now and just do conventions. And now, it hasn't come completely true, but I have started doing conventions. I have some friends that do them, seems like every month, maybe a couple a month, traveling around them. I'm not doing that many. I'm doing a few a year. I would love to do more. Nothing is more fun than getting there and meeting fans and signing autographs and taking pictures and finding out the people that your career has touched.
That's all right then, because I wouldn't retire, because you're doing what you love doing.
I have no intention of retiring.
That's good. Much more Dave Fennoy to come into the future.
There you go.
All right, so our next question is from, let's see now, Inspector Duck 124. Do you have any form of warm up before starting your voice acting?
A cup of coffee, wake up, take a shower. Sometimes I do some mouth exercises if just moving the mouth around a little bit and getting those lips loose, that kind of thing. Other than that, not too much. Make sure I am well hydrated. Have some water, have some tea, eat some fruit. That would be my warm up.
I suppose you're going to need a lot of water for the amount of dialogue that you've got to read, and the amount of pages you've got to scroll through, and the word count, of course. That final word count, like 1,000 words, especially for
The Walking Dead was unique in gaming. Usually, if you're a lead character, you might have 300-400 lines. With 5 episodes, I had 1,200 lines at least per episode.
Wow, per episode.
It was a lot. Per episode, it was a lot.
Damn, son. That's a lot. Well, you are the main character, so it's going to be a lot, if you're doing additional voices, then obviously the work
Well, for the Walking Dead, I didn't do any additional voices.
No.
Most games I do end up doing, if I'm doing a lead character, I also end up doing some other voices and some other accents and that kind of thing.
Well, there's, voice actors like Adam Harrington, who played the voice of Andy St. John.
Oh, yeah. My buddy Adam!
Shout out to Adam. But, yeah, obviously their word count won't be so high because, they're only doing 1 episode. So, maybe a few, because I don't know if...
yes, but he plays Bigby the Wolf in the Wolf Among Us, Telltale's new game, and he's the playable character, and he's the star and has a bunch of lines.
And now he's taking your word count of, 12,000 words.
No one will ever get my word count. Next question.
All right, our next question is from the Legless Marky. Okay, what would you be doing if you weren't voice acting?
I'd be a college professor, probably in history.
On your way to prison, waiting for the exam podcast.
No, I wouldn't have gotten married. I'd be dating my students. Kidding. Next.
So our next question is from Supreme Spartan number 12. What games have you worked on?
Oh boy. Well, it's in close to 100 games. Worlds of Warcraft, Worlds of Starcraft, Skylanders, Elder Scrolls, Ultimate Spider-Man, Bayonetta, Fallout New Vegas. I mean, it's a long list.
Yeah.
And he can check IMDb.
I'm literally on it right now. Yeah, it's a very long list. A very, very long list. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that your most recent finish gig would be Wolf Among Us, and unless there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah,
wink.
I'm always working on something else, and usually something else I can't talk about.
Yeah, the massive contract of disclosure of do not tell a single soul. Does that also include family?
Well, you sometimes tell people in your family. Who are they going to tell? But a lot of times, I don't tell my girl because she doesn't care.
Oh god. All right. Our next question is from Bros Before Hoes 35. Do you have any control of the characters you portray?
Bros Before Hoes 35.
I guess
interesting name, interesting handle.
It's the internet.
That's an interesting question. Do I have any control over the character? Well, you create the character in conjunction with the writer and the director. So they hire you from amongst a number of people who have auditioned, and I'm just going to go out and say that probably all those auditions were good, but there would be something about the one they chose that spoke to them more than the others. A lot of actors, oh, gee, I didn't book that. I must not be good. No, it's not that you're not good. They were looking for something, or something they heard touched them in a way that what you didn't, but maybe the next time yours would. So I'm in control at the point of auditioning, of making the choices that I make, and if they choose me, then we collaborate with that.
That's understandable. So it's not so much that you're not bad, it's just the fact that they're just trying to find like the perfect voice for this character.
Yeah, and the perfect voice, and even within the people who are doing the casting, so you got a casting director and the director and producers, there can be a fight amongst them as to which is the perfect voice. I know in the Wolf Among Us, they went back and forth. I think they had 4 or 5 different people that they considered for the wolf before they settled on Adam Harrington as a wolf. Somebody else did a whole episode of The Walking Dead as Lee Everett before they chose me. They came back, and I got the audition after they had done episode 1. Somebody there, Javier Espinoza at Telltale, had heard me on another game and said, oh, let's give Dave Fennoy a shot, see what he sounds like at it. And since our other guy isn't working out, and the rest is history.
And obviously your contact with Telltale also, brought you on to do Wolf Among Us as Bluebeard.
As Bluebeard. Well, I had done Telltale games before.
Oh, really?
But I guarantee that doing The Walking Dead made me notable to Telltale in a way that I hadn't been before.
All right, that's fair enough then. Main gig.
The
next question is from the Walking Tripod, and he asks, what has been your most rewarding and most memorable gig in the industry?
Well, usually I get the question, who's your favorite character that you've played? And my answer is, well, that's like picking amongst your children. But certain roles have given me certain gifts, and probably the role that has given me the most gifts has been playing Lee Everett on the Walking Dead game. But had I not done all the other roles I had done that give you the experience and the notoriety and the understanding of creating characters, I might not have gotten to play Lee Everett. But in terms of notoriety, fame, I would have to say playing Lee Everett has been a really good thing.
That's because, either way, you still could have played the voice of Lee, and, if the writing was terrible...
No kidding.
It could have gone, either way, so...
High five to the writers.
Yeah, high five to the writers, exactly. And Kenny's mysterious death, and that's when I cried. Before, obviously, the teardown of Lee, when Kenny supposedly died, that was when I broke down in emotions, and that was my teary moment.
Aww.
Yes.
Well, the one thing I hear about the Walking Dead game that I hadn't heard about other games, fans saying I had never become emotionally involved with a game before, or the characters in a game before, and I cried in the final scene with Lee and Clementine.
And that's basically me in a nutshell, because I, for one, have rarely actually cried or been emotionally connected to any form of character or story in a video game. I've cried over books and music, but not really so much video game. I mean, obviously, when you were with Greg Miller, you were getting a bit teary in the recording
I
booth
actually
as well.
cried doing that scene. And I had no idea I was going to do it. It wasn't something I was trying to do. The tears just came naturally, and I think it had a lot to do with I'd been living with that character for about a year, and it really created a bond. The character really became kind of part of me and created a real bond with Clementine, and I had the acting of saying goodbye to Clementine, and I had the real life saying goodbye to the character. So it was very emotional.
Oh, who knows? He can come back. Next question
is... One never knows, does one?
Next question is from Thumbs Up for Miller. If Lee was to return for season 2, how would you like him to appear?
Often with lots of lines.
So, the main thing is, she's the final episode. She bumps her head and she's out cold, and she sees Lee.
It could happen.
It can happen. I would love it to happen. I would love to see you as Lee return for a final scene if Clementine dies or something like that. But
you can't kill off a little girl.
Nah, you can't. Then Melissa Hutchison wouldn't have a job.
Dig it.
She would, but...
Oh, Melissa, let me tell you something. Melissa's one of the best out there. She will always have a job. She's an incredible talent.
Yeah, she plays a frog in The Wolf Among Us, known as TJ.
Yeah.
And also another one, I believe it was Beauty. Or something like that. Oh, I can't remember. There's so many voices that I recognize. I recognized Lauren Bailey Williams, because she just recently got married, who plays Auntie Greenleaf. And she's previously done stuff like Saints Row, especially Chun-Li, and obviously Kid Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. But there's so many voices that you can listen to and you recognize, like you and Bluebeard.
You notice all the time. One more question, because I got to get out of here, man. I got a thing happening in 4 minutes.
The very last question is from me, and it is Lee confirmed for The Walking Dead Season 2? I cannot say.
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, Gavin did the exact same thing to me when the interview was released. I believe this was before Season 2 actually came out, or it might have been before Season 2, Episode 2 came out. But he was smirking in the background. Obviously, I couldn't... Well, I'm guessing he was. But obviously, I couldn't see his camera, so I couldn't tell if he was telling the truth or not, of whether Kenny would appear, which... he returned. But same case scenario, I can't see you, and yeah.
No. Well, listen, Callum, I hate to jump off so fast, but I really got to go. I really appreciate your getting in touch and, asking me these questions and having those other people ask me these questions. And I just want to say that the fans thank you. Friend me on Facebook, like my Dave Fennoy voice actor Facebook page, follow me at Dave Fennoy on Twitter.
No, that's absolutely fine, because that's all the questions we have, and obviously all the time that you can spare. So thank you for coming along, Dave, and obviously thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you in episode 3, who the next voice actor could either be Melissa Hutchison or Adam Harrington.
Ooh, he'd be a good one. Tell my buddy Adam I said hello if you get him on.
I'll say hello for you.
All right.
Cheers, Dave, and I'll catch you later. And as I said, thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time.
You cringe at the lightning and walk on the water afraid. It's faith to move mountains like a shadow falling away. And memories of darkness obstruct your view in the night. A foothold